We all have joys and challenges in our life's journey. Change happens always. Do we reinvent ourselves in this path we walk? Today I want to answer that question and say, no, we do not. We reinvent us, our walk. We can choose at every fork in the road which path we want to follow. We choose who we are, not what we want to do. Doing is merely an outflow of who we are. In life's journey, we have every decade, and in each of those decades, we are formed as to who we are by the people we are surrounded with, the culture we're in, the experiences we have. In my first 10 years, I was this tiny little baby just born. My mom, shortly after that, left my dad and me. And he would wrap this little girl up, put her in his bicycle, pedal off to work, drop me off at the sitter, pedal back after work, pick me up. And he was my morning and my evening for 3 years. When suddenly, my mom showed up, whisked me off to her new marriage, where I was a total outsider. New people, new city, new space, new bedroom, and I felt like my father had left me. I had wondered in the years that followed who on earth I am. Were these my parents? Why couldn't they tell me that they adopted me? Where was I really from? What are my roots? What was life about for me really? Even though I looked the splitting image of my mother. To the trained eye, they would see this little girl that felt abandoned, sitting quietly on her own, daydreaming instead of working, listening, not really being part of, a true outsider. Those first years, in that first decade of all of our lives, establishes a root of who we take with us. And then the teens happen, and often we play out what happened then, or we do it as adults, 20s, 30s, 40s. In each of those decades, we get to choose. If we have not dealt with, understand who has made us what we are, we will not be able to choose from a sense of wisdom. We fall into what we do. Sometimes we hurt, sometimes we hurt others ourselves. When I think back of my first decade and the challenges of it, I was gifted as well a deep, positive faith. At the age of 8, I was riding on my bicycle and coming to a huge intersection. And suddenly I felt, bicycle and all, lifted, moved right across, and whoosh, this massive truck came by. Coming home, telling my mom about the story, she said, "Oh, Emmy, an angel lifted you on her wings. You must be meant for something in this world." I remember standing on a rock in her rose garden, speaking to all the people in the world, those rose bushes, telling them that we have purpose, that there is hope, that we have protection. About a year later, my stepdad had a tumor, went into coma. There's nothing they could do with him. Days, maybe a week, maybe hours left to live. My mom sat at his bedside and said, "God, if you are real and you heal this man today, I promise you that I will serve you for the rest of my life and seek after you." Instantly, he was healed. He came home, had to learn to walk, to talk, to eat again. And the doctors for years later would just shake their heads, not understanding the black and white and how this miracle occurred. So the gift for me that I took with me was that strength, and yet I had the challenges too, the joy and the challenge. And so as we go through our decades and we get to crossroads and we have to choose paths, there are a few things that we can do that can help us reinvent that path to step into purpose and power. Number one, know who you are. The gifts, the challenges. How are you put together? Your joys, your strengths, your limiting beliefs, everything about you. Why do you do what you do from what you have experienced? Number 2, what are your dreams? Along that journey, dreams are planted deep within us. A calling for life. That little girl standing on a rock speaking to the world also received limiting voices in the decades that followed. Why do you dream so big? Why do you think so big? Can't you just do what's right here in front of you now? You're really bad with money. You'll never be successful. Voices that speak every time you touch a dream. Every time I touch that dream, and it makes you do a little bit of it, expand it a little bit, understand it, depends how hard you work in knowing who you are, and then it gets tucked away again. So know who you are, how you function, dream, unpack those hidden dreams. Number 3, you have to choose. You have to choose to step into it, to actually do it. And number 4, you have to work it. What is it that you have to do to get this dream to fruition, to be the person that you were created to be? You have to have a plan. You have to have systems in place, people that surround you. Jim Rohn said we're only as good as the 5 people that we surround ourselves with every day. Are those people who've achieved what your dream is wanting to? Can you learn from them? Can they encourage you? Tell you where to step here or there? Don't do this, do that. Have mentors around you. Build a community. For me, I am stepping into my 6th decade. Wow, it's taken me that long to learn those lessons. And once again, when I came to a crossroad in my path, who do I want to be? Will impact what I'm going to do. I decided to do something I've always wanted to do, put on some super high heels. Is it easy for me to walk in these? Not so much. But look, the new dream that a 9-year-old girl had, stepping finally into all that it's going to take to achieve this, what I was designed to do. Yes, I'm writing my 5th book. I started a nonprofit, the International School of Story, sharing hope in dark times with people around the globe, helping them find tools to cope with depression, anxiety, dreams for hopes with plans. And I want to ask you today, are you at a crossroad? Or perhaps you've stepped into it. Take the steps. Know who you are. Secondly, what is your wildest dream? Choose it and make a plan for it. We are all designed for something extremely extraordinary that only we can accomplish.